What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Utah Jazz and why they are the most underrated team in the NBA this year. Before we get into that, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment. Let me know what types of videos you guys enjoy, what you'd want to see from me. I got a few comments in the last video, some of which, I like to do the more complicated videos on the weekends just because I have a lot more time. School's a little bit hectic. It takes a while. Also managing two channels. Yeah, if you didn't know, I had two channels. My gaming channel, links in the description. Twitter, links in the description. Everything's in the description. Resources, how to hit me up. Anyway, yeah, that and subscribe if you're new. And yeah, let's get into this. So along with teams like the San Antonio Spurs and maybe the Memphis Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz are one of those teams that they're so slept on. Year in, year out. I mean, last year, everybody thought for, like the last 5 or 6 years, this team, everybody thought they have been just really bad, just trash, pretty much. And a lot of it is because, yeah, they haven't had a great record ever since Deron Williams left the Utah Jazz. They really haven't had a stable roster. They have a lot of roster turnover, a lot of different players moving in and out. But the Jazz are just getting good. I mean, when we talk about these young teams that are getting good, we think about like Timberwolves. What could the Timberwolves be in a few years? The Milwaukee Bucks, what they could be in a few years. The New Orleans Pelicans, especially now with DeMarcus Cousins on the team, what they could be next year or in a few years. The Philadelphia 76ers. There are a ton of teams that are young but loaded with young talent that could potentially lead that roster to big playoff series victories and going deep and establishing a legacy or even a dynasty. I mean, there's hopes behind it. Hopes in every franchise with young talent. There are hopes, just that they could form a dynasty with the best players. And most of the time it doesn't happen. But the Utah Jazz are one of those teams that have already had that young talent and now they're building on it. And they are a legit playoff team, and they're on the doorstep of being a dark horse contender. I'm not ready to say it yet, because I don't think that I think they're kind of young. They're not. I don't know. I mean, honestly, if we see the Jazz finish the season strong, we see them get a few playoff victories. We see them healthy. A healthy Jazz team could challenge almost anybody in the playoffs. They've got the best opponent's points per game in the league at 96. They got Rudy Gobert in the middle protecting the paint, which is huge. And this guy really should. I mean, he should be top 2 in Defensive Player of the Year candidacy. To me, I mean, he has been so good all year long on that end. He's also a monster rebounder, but most importantly, as a rim protector, he's probably the best rim protecting big man in the NBA this year. The guy is incredible on that end and really doesn't get enough credit. A reason why the Jazz are so underrated is because they have a lot of players that just don't get credit. They got players, they don't have really a flashy star. They don't really have, guys that we really pay attention to, guys that are big in the media. Gordon Hayward is a star player for sure, and he's averaging about 22 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, something like that. And he's an efficient scorer. The guy plays defense. I mean, he's a good all-around player. But he's not really, he's not the center of attention. He's not a big name. I mean, I don't know, kind of. I mean, people know Gordon Hayward, but a lot of people don't really follow Gordon Hayward and what he can do. He's really good all around. I mean, he's a star player. He's a top 7, 6, 7. I mean, small forward's a loaded position. So it's kind of, not a good example. But Gordon Hayward was an all-star this year, and he was deserving to be on the all-star team. He was deserving, okay? The guy definitely, a leader of a 4-seeded team, putting up 22, 6, and 3, and, checking all the boxes. I think that he definitely deserved that. I think Rudy Gobert probably should have been in the All-Star game too, but, we don't recognize defense enough. Rudy Gobert is excellent, elite on the defensive end. He's also, like I said, a huge rebounder. He just doesn't score at a super high clip. They put DeAndre Jordan instead of him, and I think that All-Star appearance, we know that Rudy Gobert's had a better season than DeAndre Jordan. I think it's about, recognizing the career of DeAndre Jordan. That's the reason why he got in and not Rudy Gobert, is because DeAndre Jordan has been so consistent and so good over the last few years, whereas Rudy Gobert, he's starting to get good, and he's really good. Now, he's probably better than DeAndre Jordan right now. He's surpassed him, I think, just because of that defensive prowess that he possesses. He's incredible down low. So you got Gordon Hayward and Rudy Gobert, two stars that we don't really hear about them enough. They're not in the headlines all the time. They're quiet. I mean, they just do their job. And we know we're going to get used to seeing the Utah Jazz as a top 4 team in the West. I'm surprised that Houston was this good. I wouldn't have, I was, if I knew the Jazz were going to play this good, I would have put them at the 3, or, maybe I should say the Clippers are going to be this bad, because the Clippers are below the Jazz. I thought the Clippers are going to be ahead of the Jazz. But actually, it's funny, the Jazz are in the 4th seed right now, and I made my predictions at the beginning of the season, before the season even started. I said the Jazz was going to be a 4 seed. And everybody was like, no, like the Jazz aren't going to make the playoff. Like, some people were actually saying that. Guys, you got to have that knowledge. No one teams are going to get good. The Utah Jazz are up and coming. They've got great players. They're just learning how to play together. They made great acquisitions. They picked up George Hill, Joe Johnson. They got bench help. I mean, they really do have a lot. The reason that they're not better is because they have so many injuries. This team has really not been healthy for very long, and yet they still maintain a 39-24 record. They play as a team. I mean, that's one of the things that I like about the Utah Jazz, because a lot of teams like the Rockets and the Thunder and the Cavs, teams like that, they have an irreplaceable piece. Like the Houston Rockets, you take James Harden off the Houston Rockets, I mean, that team, they really don't have a go-to. They don't have anything, because James Harden is the system that is the Houston Rockets. Take Russell Westbrook off the Thunder, that's a completely different team. I mean, it's like when you took Boogie Cousins off the Kings. I mean, that team was, what are they now? I mean, they move the ball. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're better, but they're not good players, but they play together. That's what the Jazz do, and they have a lot of moving parts. The reason why, they're able to win games while having guys hurt is just because of the fact that they have such good chemistry. They can run their stuff without everybody there. They play as a team. Same thing with the Spurs. Even if Kawhi Leonard's injured, the Spurs still know how to operate. They've operated with that system. Greg Popovich as coach, and they've been a contender for 20 years. I mean, it's like that. The Utah Jazz are a young team. I mean, they're going to be good for a long time. They're going to have Gordon Hayward, Rudy Gobert, those two guys, those two all-star caliber players on a squad together. That team should make the playoffs every year from here on out. I mean, those two guys are so good. And then you got a really solid point guard in George Hill. Rodney Hood, he's been on and off this season. But I expect him to get better as well, because he's pretty young. But they got such a young core. And the Utah Jazz, man, second round. I mean, I think they can take the Clippers in the first round, probably. I don't know. I mean, the Clippers, they're kind of a wild card, but they're not getting past the second round this year. And the Jazz, they can muster up a victory against the Clippers in the first round. They'll probably have that. They might have that home court advantage. I'm not sure yet. They're a game and a half ahead of the Clippers. They play the Warriors in the second round if they get a W against the Clippers in the first round. Right now, as how the standings are set up. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think of a Warriors-Jazz second-round series? Assuming Kevin Durant is back, I don't think that this really does anything. I think that the Jazz can win 1, maybe 2 games because their defense is incredible. That's, one reason how they could phase the Warriors. But so far this season, I don't think Utah's beat the Warriors this season. They've gotten close, I think, maybe a few times, but if Kevin Durant isn't back, if he has a setback in his injury, then hey, who knows? What could we see in that series? Could the Jazz? I think if Kevin Durant doesn't play in the playoffs, like if he's out for the season, if they get like some bad news that he has like some further injury, I don't see them getting out of the West. I see them either losing in the second or third round. I don't see any reason how they could beat the Spurs. Like, no, that's not happening to me. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and idea down below. Subscribe if you're new. I also did not expect Kevin Durant to be this valuable to the Warriors, but guess I'm wrong. They're definitely not the same team without him, and yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. I don't know how this video just got about Kevin Durant. It's about the Utah Jazz. Stop sleeping on the Utah Jazz, guys. This team is for real. They're just like your Houston Rockets, except they play as they're one of the top tier teams, and they need to be recognized as such. All right, I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.